What's up guys, what's going on, borisT here, welcome to this new video. Today we are going to talk of 5 bands that drastically changed their sound and failed miserably. Number 5, Machine Head.
Machine Head. Machine Head.
Machine Head released their first album in 1994 called Burn My Eyes. If you like groovy thrash metal, you will probably love this album. It's considered one of the most important and significant from the genre. And imagine that even Kerry King loved the album when it came out and brought the band in tour with them. In 1997 the band released their second album called The More Things Change, and yes, the thing changed. In this album the atmosphere is different, it's darker, it's slower, it's still groovy thrash, but beside the slow tempos that sometimes are just boring, the band started to incorporate something new that we will hear taking the entire control of the next album. And here we are, it's 1999, nu metal is the trend of the moment, everyone loves nu metal, everyone listens to nu metal, but what about bands that nothing has to do with nu metal? Guys, it's obvious, they remain consistent with their sound, they said fuck you nu metal, we play groovy thrash metal, right? Right? Yep! Machine Head totally jumped in the nu metal wagon. So let's check a couple of things. We have an ugly cover, something that all nu metal band had at the time. I don't know if paying someone to do a nice cover in 90s costed a lot, but I have some doubt on it. And then what else we have? Large clothes? Checked. Short hair? Checked. A drum that sound all the same for the entire album? Checked. Rap vocals? Checked. I mean guys, I found always super funny that Rob Flynn got mad every time Kerry King called them sellouts. Rob, don't get mad about it, but it's what Machine Head became. You guys released a groovy thrash metal album when the genre was still on top, and you jumped totally in nu metal when nu metal became a trend. Of course you got a lot of shit. So after the band released that album, yeah, of course they sold a lot of copies, but they got also a lot of shit from the fans. They got a lot of shit from Kerry King, yeah, of course. And the review weren't that good. By the way, I love Machine Head. They released a good album. The first one is great, The Blackening is great, Unto the Locust too, and Blossom and Diamonds too. I have that album. Here we are. This is a cool edition. Number 4, Celtic Frost. Celtic Frost were a Swiss band, I would say the most important band from Switzerland, and it's a band that had a huge impact to the extreme metal music. How to describe their music? Someone will say that they were playing black metal, etc., but I don't considering that black metal, you know, the black metal from 80s. So I will say something like heavy thrash metal combined with Venom and Motorhead, you know. They had that dirty metal sound that was really cool, so we can call it extreme metal, okay? So the band released in the 80s 3 classics, and those classics are Morbid Tales, To Megatherium, and Into the Pandemonium. So you are may asking right now, what happens then to this band, you know, after they released the 3 classics? So it was 1988, and guess what genre was really popular at the time? Yeah, exactly. Hair glam metal. Hair fucking glam metal. So in 1988 they released this album called Cold Lake. And yes, it's a glam metal album. Don't get me wrong, I love glam metal, seriously. Hair metal, glam metal from 80s is one of my favorite genres, I love it. I love every metal genre, side nu metal and core stuff. If you start to be known as extreme metal band, you can change your sound and start to play fucking glam metal. So what happens when the album were released? Fans get mad as fuck, a European tour with Destruction was a completely failure, and band were bombing by bad reviews. The band tried to get back to their sound in 1990, but due to the previous shitstorm and the bad reputation, basically the album didn't sell well, and with that and other problems, the band split up. The band reunited in 2006, they released an awesome album called Monotheist, but after that they definitely split it in 2008. Number 3, Kreator. Kreator are one of the 4 biggest thrash metal bands from Germany. They started as a pure thrash metal band and they stick with that sound for 5 albums. But in 1992 they started to experiment a little bit with the album Renewal. In this album the band started to mix the typical thrash metal sound with something more groovy, industrial, and also Mille Petrozza also started to sing in a different way. I don't know what the fuck was happening in 90s. Every band that was coming out from 80s started to change. It was like for movies, for everything. Everything started to suck. 90s sucks! By the way, the album wasn't bad. It just sounded a little bit different from the discography. It was still thrash metal. Reminds me, I don't know why, of God Hates Us All from Slayer. Wasn't that bad, you know? The band continued to experiment for 4 more albums until Endorama, which was the most experimental album they released. This album brought to the band a lot of criticism and sold really bad. What was the problem with the album? The band started to play nu metal like everyone? Actually not. The band still played thrash metal, there was still thrash metal elements, but they started to incorporate gothic and dark metal. So it was really strange to listen. I really don't like that album, it's a strange combination. Compared to the band that we were talking before, I don't think that creator wanted to sell more copies or they wanted to have a bigger audience. I think that just they had a need to experiment, you know, to change their sound. I remember once I read an interview from Mille Petrozza, the singer. He said, I wanted to experiment. If I will ever feel the urge to experiment again, I'll start a new band. That's why from that album to nowadays, the band is still playing thrash metal. Number 2, Chord. A band that for a lot of people started nu metal. I never been a fan of Chord, I have to be honest. I remember that when I was young, me and my brother bought the greatest hits, and when we listened it, we thought that we made an error, that we probably bugged up demo or something, because this song sounded so cheap and now fans will kill me. Chord is one of those bands, you know, that started a genre. It's like Metallica with thrash metal. They don't have to change it. Even if nu metal, thrash metal will have upside down, you know, the big bands will never fail. But something happens in 2011. If you remember correct, a guy called Skrillex, who the fuck remembers Skrillex anymore today, brought back the dubstep, a music genre created by Optimus Prime and Transformers. I remember that was a new trend. Everyone was listening dubstep. You could hear dubstep in the fucking advertising on YouTube, on the TV, etc. And what do you think the biggest nu metal bands in the planet, or one of the biggest, did? Well, the money are never enough. So of course the band released an album called The Path of Totality that was a mix of metal, dubstep, drum and bass, electro house. And who was in this album? Who was the special guest? Of course, Skrillex, the guy of the moment, with other famous people that were playing the same fucking electronic shit. And of course, we all thought, guys, you really need more money? You're fucking rich. You're selling millions of copies out there playing nu metal. Why do you change? Do you know what Jonathan Davis said? We were dubstep before there was dubstep. Okay. That's why after this album, Jonathan, you guys continue with dubstep, right? Mixed with metal, electronic, yeah? Or you didn't? You came back to metal and you never play again dubstep in every Korn album? Wow. So yes, the band never recorded another dubstep album. I don't know if it was before fans hated. I don't know because it was for the bad reviews, because the album got a lot of shit, or it was simple because in a couple of years nobody gave a shit anymore about dubstep. I think that it can be a combination of those 3 things. And in the first and last position we have Suicide Silence. Holy shit! I never seen a biggest shitstorm in my life. And let me tell you something. A deserved shitstorm. They started to play deathcore when the deathcore was the biggest trend, okay? We can say even that they followed the trend because they started as a deathcore band, so it's okay. And they immediately got the top. You know, they were one of the fathers, let's say, of deathcore. So the band came out with The Cleansing, an album that gets so much bad reviews at the time. I remember 4 out of 10 and other reviews like that, and now it's considered a classic. I don't know how it's that possible, but it's okay. The album sold well, and the band continued on that line for 4 albums. But then something happens in 2017. The album called Suicide Silence were released. Before the release of the album, the band released 2 singles, and Holy shit. They've got so much shit for those 2 singles that a petition to stop the album release started. And maybe you are asking right now why that? Why the band got so much shit? Well, they went from deathcore to alternative nu metal. Why band don't want to understand that they can play alternative nu metal if they start as a deathcore fucking metal band? It's not hard. I can play fucking black metal. Check my band, TRYGLAV'S, links in the description down below. And the next day, because I like glam metal, start a glam metal band. I will feel so bad just for people that bought my fucking CD and t-shirt and or have the fucking tattoo on my band. Holy shit. And you know, when that happens, you have to kind of understand your fans, where you want to go, etc. Be careful with your words. And what the singer Suicide Silence, Eddie Hermida, did, well, he started kinda to shit on deathcore, saying that the new album will have 70% of clean vocals. He said that he wanted fans to hate him and that he was doing well, that they made this record from themselves and not for fans, laughing at the reaction of those 2 singles, you know? And he said, I'm not doing records to sell copies, I'm doing things to create a music and an art form. And they were right. The album sold millions of copies. Every concert were sold out and the band got the first position in the chart in every part of the world. That's, I think, what the band expected, but no. The album was a complete flop everywhere. Reviews were bad, fans were angry as fuck. The album sold in the first week 69% less than the previous one. The band said that some of the venues on the supporting tour were half empty. Wow! And imagine also that their long-time manager quit the band because he didn't like the direction that the band was going. But since the singer was so tough, he wanted fans to hate him, what they did? They came back on deathcore. After all the shit the singer said, they came back on deathcore. Okay. Man, next time maybe it's better to just shut the fuck up. So basically we all know now that you are actually doing just that for money, because you didn't want to play deathcore anymore and now you're forced to play deathcore. So yay, good. We all love deathcore now because deathcore is paying our taxes and bills and etc. Okay, I understand. So my dear friends out there, this is all for this video. Please, if you like the video and you are new, remember to subscribe, leave a comment to support the channel. And I will see you all in the next one. Cheers!
Satan.